If you're any sort of a petrol head at all, you'd be lying if you said a fast Ford does not intrigue you. The fantastic Fiesta ST engine has been planted into the very successful Puma just to give families maybe an option of having something a bit potent under the bonnet if they still need practical family stuff. But there's a significant jump in price over the fantastic Fiesta. So let's take a little look around first. You still get your little frog light looking face, big huge black grille with a nice ST badge and Ford Performance down here on the splitter. Straight away with that colour, it gives you a feeling that there's something else going on. They're not the same alloys as the Fiesta, they are slightly different. The 19-inch here, a little bit of a black insert down your side skirts. You can get a pack that gives you blind spot monitoring and cross traffic alert. This version has a black roof and your big huge boot spoiler comes down sloping nicely into a big huge Puma badge with ST on the side and twin exhausts. Another option this car has is a pack that gives you a limited slip differential. That's also a smidgen over €1,000, just like on the Fiesta ST. Another thing that's handy is the fact that you can swipe your foot under the boot, and generally it works most times. Automatic tailgate and a decent sized boot. It will take a child's buggy, for example. You still get this flexible cover that will help you get things around things if you're trying to shove loads of stuff into the boot. And Ford's Mega Box is also down there, which can actually take water and has a drainage cap underneath the car if, I don't know, you wanted to have an aquarium in the boot or something else strange. So it's probably around the same size as the Fiesta boot, maybe a tiny bit bigger. My question is it worth all the extra money though? Rear doors open reasonably wide, wouldn't be best in class for example, but the legroom for quite a small car is actually alright. Probably call it a two-seater thing back here, even though it's got a nice sloping roof design. It's alright on the L heads. Little hooks that they've put into the back aren't quite the standard grab handles which you might want in a car like this. You don't get an armrest, maybe just not big enough. You do get two Isofix on either side and there's nothing for rear passengers to charge or keep cool with back here. The other thing it doesn't do is open all the way down, but at least they're privacy tinted windows. If you're here for the more standard version of the Puma, I do have a review of the ST line, which kind of looks like this car, just doesn't have the 200 brake horsepower 1.5 petrol engine inside. But if you want to click that link, you can get more details on the standard car. The other thing I need to point out is the standard Puma is about mid-20s and this version is €40,000. So with the Fiesta being so good at barely 30, is this actually worth an extra 10 grand to get into a car that isn't quite as good to drive as the Fiesta, but it's still pretty good? And we'll get to that in a second. But first, let's have a look at the front section of the car that's beeping furiously to tell me the door's open. I know. Much like the Fiesta, you still get the Recaro bucket seats, you get the ST steering wheel, the floating screen, standard across pretty much every Ford I've reviewed over the last little while. Again, their 3-version auto climate control is brilliant. In this version of the car, the ST full version, you get heated seats, heated steering wheel, and a heated windshield, which is so handy. I had it in a Ford Fiesta, scary to think about, 20 years ago, and it was an absolute lifesaver. This version has launch control. Again, you've got to pay a little bit extra to have that. Is it a car that you'd be launch controlling around in though? I don't know, because again, if you wanted just the out and out performance, you'd probably be looking at the Fiesta. You got sport mode, cam mode. It'll do about 9 litres per 100 kilometers, which is pretty decent for a 1.5 with 200 brake horsepower. A B&O sound system comes in the car as well. So it is well kitted out, and it does remind me of fast Fords from years ago in the sense that you get the nice polished gear knob, some decent quality plastics, but then there's touches everywhere, a little bit of fake carbon fibre, but like you kind of embrace it. There's something a bit different about this, and we're not going to take ourselves too seriously, and it's a fun car. You know, metal trim pedals, ST badging everywhere, wonderful Recaro bucket seats, and you get a handbrake. You know what you'd be using one of them for, Guard? I have absolutely no idea. There are tons of ways to support this fully independent YouTube channel. If you'd like to tip us on PayPal, if you'd like to subscribe for a monthly fee on Patreon, that isn't really much more than the price of a cup of coffee once a month. Or just comment and like and subscribe to the channel, you might consider doing that as well. I like the fact that this engine will let you take it easy if you're just not in the mood. There's a big S red button on the steering wheel saying press me, press me, press me. And that activates sports mode. The exhaust gets a little bit louder. The steering feels a little bit tighter and the throttle does respond slightly sharper. And it just, I suppose, makes you go, okay, I've done something now to make this car come a bit more alive. I need to act on it. So then you do things like find out that it'll do up to 90 kilometers in second gear. Now the limiter will cut in then, and I don't remember doing that in the Fiesta. Maybe it did now, but I just don't remember. The steering is so sharp and direct, you just twist it and the car is going whatever direction you've pointed it in. So it really does have a very direct, great feedback sort of steering setup for a crossover that you just don't normally get that in these types of cars. And with that in mind, it really loves twisty roads, twisty routes. As I mentioned earlier on in the video, you can get a limited slip differential as part of a pack. It's just over €1,000. There's the Fiesta ST gone by. I don't like, is it worth it? Well, it depends how often you like going for, a proper blast. And if you do, then I'd get it, because it just gives you a little bit more control when you're trying to have a bit of crack, and certainly will allow you to go in and out of corners faster and stuff. And I suppose the purist person will want that. When you unleash the really slow Toyota Yaris in front of you and get an actual stretch, that is where the fun comes in. I mean, it just hugs the road. It's firm, but in a way that you want it to be firm. Really sharp corners, go into them a bit later. You can feel the power transfer from one corner to the next. The handling wouldn't be as sharp as the Fiesta, right? That still is the car that you want if it's just an ST for decent enough money that you're after. But I can't imagine people driving like that with a family full of people. Yet, if you're on the car on your own, then it gives you that flexibility that it can do both. I love the rasp off the engine. I love the fact that it encourages you to press on with driving. The more you rev it, the louder and more aggressive it sounds. And from that end, it is probably the most fun crossover that you can have a knock around in. Things like the T-Roc Or obviously are up there, but they're quite a bit more money. So this car does have the limited slip, and you can feel it. I mean, as you go around bends, you can feel it doing its thing all right. Nice brakes as well, there's good bite in them. Again, all adds up to making you feel just a bit more confident behind the wheel of the car. I just love fast forwards. I always have done. Nothing's ever going to change that. I do regret in the early noughties not buying a Focus RS. They just were a little bit out of reach. I think they were about 50,000. I'm trying to remember, it was a punts or was it euro, but it was definitely 50 something anyway. Where else will you get that kind of grunt from a car like this? I love it. Launch control should be something that we can sort out here. So just hear the limiter there doing its thing. The main thing is, how often do crossovers make you smile like this? And the answer is not very often. So this car is all out by itself. If you want to have a bit of fun, still have a good boot, just loves bends into second gear. Little bit of a crack, little bit of a pop off the exhaust there. Thank you to the Ford Puma ST for reminding us all that there's actually still a bit of fun out there in cars. You just have to go looking for it. So the verdict, as much as I love things like the Mega Box, slightly higher position, that might be something you're into, it's hard to look past the Fiesta ST because it's just so good. You can get it in this colour, you can get it with slightly nicer wheels, and it'll still have ST badges all over it. So I'd say the buyers for this particular version of the Puma are going to be few and far between. At €40,000, it's a huge chunk dearer than the 30,000 ST Fiesta. And I think a lot of people just won't be able to look past that. Thanks for watching.